Welcome, I'm Dermot Hussey. This is the YouTube channel of Riffin Radio. My special guest is Renaissance man of Jamaica's popular music, Mikey Bennett, singer, group member, composer, producer, and CEO of Grafton Studios, Kingston, Jamaica. Mikey B, what kind of contrast was it to be a Roberta Flack fan and produce a song with her?
Yeah, pretty much like as you asked in the question, Dermot, one of the biggest challenge was getting over the fact that I was this big fan. And I mean, I grew up with her songs as part of the soundtrack of our growing up, in Kingston. And so the story is I was in New Orleans for the jazz festival, which Ernie Ranglin they were trying to get Ernie Ranglin on the show. And I got a call from my people said that, listen, instead of going back to Jamaica, head straight to Barbados. I sent a ticket straight from to Barbados. Roberta Flack had heard some stuff that I'd done and wanted, this kind of new energy, young energy, with some stuff. Because I think she was trying to switch record companies, or she was switching record companies. So I'd known Nicholas Branca and Arthur Tapping, from other situations. And Mia Motley was one of my best friends at the time. So it was a real friendly situation where I met her. And we spent a whole day just chatting and fooling around, and we got really comfortable. Then she told me about this song that Stevie Wonder had started to write for her. He had just come up to her house unannounced, and just went straight to her piano and started to, she plugged in the tape recorder, and he started to talk as if talking to Danny Hathaway. And I didn't know, but it is very obvious from the stylings that his vocals took on that Danny Hathaway was one of his, biggest influences. And he said as much in the tape narrative. And he was saying, Danny boy, I'm one of your biggest fans. It would be the greatest pleasure of my life if I was able to, write a song for you and Roberta. Well, we know the situation with Danny Hathaway. So this was many years later. So all of us in the studio felt very privileged to be here in this conversation of a tape recording that had taken place many years ago by one legend speaking to another legend about a situation. And that we, three little Caribbean boys, were being given this opportunity to finish this thing. I mean, it was just awesome. So we started to make a demo track for the situation. So I was tasked with writing the lyrics based on a mumble track that Stevie Wonder had done. I mean, it was nerve-wracking. I was under pressure. I've never been under so much pressure, and I don't think I'll ever face such a pressurized situation ever again in my life. So they were supposed to go to a party. I decided I'm not going to the party. I'm just going to stay home and just finish this lyrics. I was staying by Mia's house, and after about 3 or 4 hours and about 100 sheets of paper on the ground, I just tore up everything. I said, listen, I'm not listening to Stevie Wonder mumble tracks anymore, because the phonetics was just driving me off. I mean, it make a sound a certain way and you're trying to find lyrics. And I just started from scratch. But because I'd done so much pre-work on it, the song just started to write itself. And within 15 minutes after that, I had this song. Mia came home, I was staying at her place, I said, and she looked at it and she said, her eyes full of water. I know we're onto something emotional. The next morning when they picked me up to go to the studio, I showed the lyrics to Roberta, and her eyes misted up too. And we got excited. And we did the demo. And the excitement went to the point where she said she was going to phone Stevie Wonder to make him hear it. And let me tell you, I've never been so nervous in my life. Never been so nervous in my life. And the first word that came out of Stevie Wonder mouth was, nah. And, my word just dropped. I mean, everything just dropped down to the ground, right down to the ground. Luckily, he said, yeah, no, play that again. But I think Roberta just saved all of us heart failure, because she just smiled and said, she says, listen again. And the more he listened, the more he started to like it. And him say, yeah, you guys on the right track. And that was all we needed. And so that was the high and low of my musical experience up to that point. I mean, I don't think I've ever felt so low or so high within a 5 minute span. So we left there and we did the tracks. But Nicola's studio was not the kind of studio, to do a final thing. So she decided to come to Grafton. So we went to Grafton Road and we recorded the track. Right after that, I heard something about some record company thing. And then I got a call from her. So she was calling me from a plane. So she was heading to San Francisco or LA to play the track for Clint Eastwood for one of his movies. And to be honest, I'm not sure what happened to that track, to be very honest. And I still have very happy man if not never happened to that track. I got a chance to write a song for Roberta Flack, that Stevie Wonder heard, that Clint Eastwood heard. And every time I go to Barbados, I can never remember it, but Nicholas Branca remembers what it sounds like. So it's been one of those things. So we're at Grafton and we jammed a couple things and she was just fooling on. But what I came to understand later in the business, because normally in Jamaica, we can't afford to just go in the studio and just spend 3-4 days and just make demos. So we get used to, when we go in the studio and spend a couple 3-4 hours, we're making records and we expect it to be released at some stage. Yeah. But I mean, I was just early in the international, scene. And after that, I've learned that, this is what artists at that level do constantly. They just head to different places, hoping to just find that one song. So just to be part of that process is itself a blessing, and I feel so blessed to have been. And she never leave me out. If she come to Jamaica and spend 10 minutes, I get a call. And from time to time, I've heard from people who have told me that she mentioned, me very quite favorably in some conversation. So that is, trust me, I feel quite rewarded.
Did you find out what the source of her magic was?
Well, she has one of these voices. We call it now. It's like one of these pure sound voices that just defy all kind of thing and go straight into your soul, into your heart. And I think her interpretation, probably because she's a trained musician who decided to do pop. So she's like a rebel. So I think in a way all of us kind of identify with this person because she's a classically trained musician, Mm-hmm. And she has a way, this earth. Somebody said she has an earth voice. It's like it just sounds like the voice coming straight out of the past. It just connects to us, in this visceral way that it does feel good. And like I say, in the 70s, she was just the voice that we identified with what was hip in America, soul music and soul thing and the Afro. And so it was just one of them things. She was just the right person at the right voice at the right time, I think. And we working with some of the best writers and and songs and record companies. But she was that great voice, great musician.
Mikey, thank you so much, man, and happy birthday once more.
It's a blessing. That's it's so wonderful to be a part of this conversation.
Hey, man, thank you, and we talk soon.
All right, respect, Pops. Bless up.